Radiant Black, issue number 19 from Image Comics. Feels like it's been a while, and I think it's because it's been over a month since the last issue came out. I don't recall any Radiant Black issues coming out in October. So, yeah. So we start off this issue with kids playing in Brazil when all of a sudden something falls from the sky, and just this giant alien tech thing is just floating above the street, and everyone's kind of like, what the hell is going on? And then we cut back to Illinois, where we have these two, this man and a woman. They steal a car from this nurse at a gas station, and before they can make their getaway, Nathan flips the car over using his powers. And then Marshall is also there. He's wearing a hockey mask. In this image, it kind of reminds me of Casey Jones. And yeah, together they stop these two thieves. Basically, they tag out. So for anyone who's kind of lost or just needs a recap, something has happened between Marshall and Nathan where now instead of one being the Radiant Black or both being Radiant Black, it's kind of a mix of the two. Basically, they're both Radiant Black, but only one can be Radiant Black at a time, and they have to tag out whenever the other one wants to become Radiant Black. So I guess to hide their identities, they're wearing hockey masks, which is a really dumb idea. Because, I mean, I guess it's not a really dumb idea, but there's a better way of hiding your identity rather than just a hockey mask. Hockey mask just hides your face. It doesn't hide your hair color or anything else. And all people have to do is they have to see, okay, who's a black-haired guy who's hanging out with a redhead. And there you go. You can find your heroes. I mean, obviously, it's going to take a long time because it's Illinois. There's a lot of people there and stuff. But yeah, I kind of would have liked it better if they had done something else to kind of hide their identity when they tag out. But this idea is kind of cool. I like the whole tagging out ability. I'm wondering where it's going to go. Are they going to keep doing this forever? Is eventually one of them going to gain the powers? Are they both going to gain the powers? Are we going to do some kind of like Kamen Rider W where one gets the powers and then the other one like goes inside him mentally? That sounded really weird sense. Anyone who's watched Kamen Rider W, you kind of get where I'm going with this. Are we going to do something like that? Are we basically going to do like an Ultraman red and blue where we're just both of them have the powers? And or like, I'm kind of curious to see where they're going to go with this. But yeah, Nathan's basically talking about how he's still a bit rusty. Marshall's trying to like, tell him that he eventually he'll get used to it. Like it'll be fine. Like you figure it out. Then they find out that Satomi, Radiant Red, has turned herself into the police, so she's now in prison. The funny thing is that this went by really freaking quick, because usually like there's a trial. Even when someone turns themselves in, you get a trial. Trials can take like a year before they actually go into event. So this is pretty much like she turned herself in, and then not even like a week later, she's already in prison. It's like, that's not how it works. But whatever. I can see them not dragging this out for the sake of story and the flow and things like that. Nathan goes back home. He's signing a bunch of thank you cards because it turns out that he didn't have any insurance, and the only reason like he was okay at the hospital, like they were keeping watch of him and quote unquote saved his life, even though it was technically Marshall that saved his life, but it was because they had like a GoFundMe account. His parents set up a GoFundMe and people were donating money, and that money was being used to pay off the hospital bills and stuff like that. So now his mom is making him write letters to everyone who donated to him, thanking them for their donation and stuff. So as he's doing that, he sees one name pop up on the donation is Owen. And for anyone who doesn't know who Owen is the ex-fiance. Did they end up actually getting married? I don't think they did. I think they were just engaged. The ex-fiance to Satomi. So he decides to go visit her in prison. And yeah, they kind of have a moment. This is like the first time that they are talking face to face. And Nathan's just basically talking about the insurance, my mom doing thank you notes. Oh, it is her ex-husband. I don't remember them getting married, though. I remember them getting engaged. Whatever. I think I've pretty much just blocked out Radiant Red out of my mind because that series was freaking terrible. Anyways, yeah, she's like, I don't know how he got the money. Probably because he stole it. But yeah, I'm happy that he was able to help you out. And I'm sorry for my part in it. He's basically talking to her. He's like, you ever get the feeling that like something big is coming down? And Satomi's like, yeah. And there's a little bit more. I'm gonna skip that, but pretty much, Marshall sees what's going on in Brazil. He calls Radiant Pink because she has teleportation powers, and the two of them teleport to Brazil, where they see the machine, and it reminds them of the machines that they saw when they teleported into space. And so, yeah, they see this machine thing, and all of a sudden it awakens and it turns into a giant robot, and that's where I'm gonna end it. But yeah, I will say it was an interesting issue. There's really no action. I mean, there's a moment where Nathan flips a car, and then Marshall drops this thing on the male robber. But other than that, there's really no action. It's mostly just like character development and setting up for the next arc, which is going to be dealing with this alien force and the giant robot. And all I can say is thank God we're going back to alien forces, because I hated the whole street level thing. And I don't hate it because it was street level. I hated it because of the way that they paced this. I've always complained about the pacing in this series, and I still stand by it. We went from nothing happening for the first few issues, where it was just Nathan having his powers, and then most of it was him dealing with writer's block and not really him dealing with the superhero powers. And then we had a Radiant versus Radiant fight, which then led to them fighting against some kind of alien creature. I keep calling him the saber-wielding dude, but yeah, that guy. Then all of a sudden we went to street level stuff. And we went to street level stuff for way too long. And now all of a sudden we're back to alien stuff. And I think it should be going the other way around. You don't want to start out huge. I think you could have saved the Radiant versus Radiant, because that would be like a really interesting thing. I would have started, you go with street level first. Street level is where our heroes should be fighting as they kind of learn their powers and learn to control it. Then you start introducing maybe some minor alien threats or whatever. And then you start getting the big boys coming into play. But instead, it's like we went big, then we went street level for the longest time, and now we're going to possibly big again. And it's like, by the time we finished the first big villain, there was no like sense of urgency or feelings of worry for our characters when they're fighting street level thugs. Because it's like, all right, they already faced a earth-threatening villain. Why the hell is some robbers or some YouTubers gonna scare me? Like, why should I worry about our heroes not being able to take them out? Like, that whole thing was dumb. So I'm glad we're moving away from the street level stuff and going back to alien villains. I'm also glad to see that we actually see Radiant working together. So we see Marshall with Radiant Pink. That was another issue that I had, was the fact that we went from Nathan trying to learn his powers, then all of a sudden Marshall gets the Radiant powers, and then he stumbles across all the other Radiants, and then they fight this big threat. And then everyone decides to just go their own separate ways and just deal with minor street level thugs. It's like, okay, these street level thugs would have been so much simpler if you had help from the other Radiants. Why didn't you call any of them? It's just, it's a weird thing where it's like, don't introduce all the Radiants and then not use them for multiple issues. You should have like introduced them one by one as the threats start getting bigger and bigger. That's how I would have paced it out. But regardless, I'm criticizing what they've done in the past. At least this issue kind of fixes that. We're going back to alien threats. We're going back to, at least it looks like two of them are starting to work together. I'm assuming the Radiant Yellow is going to get involved in some way. I'm guessing Radiant Red's going to break out of prison, or something's going to happen. She's going to have to get involved. So yeah, it looks like we're setting up to the Radiants working together again, which is great. That's what I wanted since they were all introduced. And yeah, so it looks like we're heading in the right direction, which I'm happy for. We got the cool thing of Marshall and Nathan sharing their powers. I always preferred Marshall as Radiant Black, but I'm interested to see where they're going to go with this tagging out to use the powers thing, how that's going to work, especially in an alien threat level battle. But yeah, I'm glad to see that we're going in the right direction, at least for me. Like alien threats, Radiants working together, interesting tag in, tag out power. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this, where it goes. This was a good issue. I enjoyed it. There you go. Radiant Black, issue number 19. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope to see you next time. Take care. Later. So what did you guys think of that video? Hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys haven't already, please subscribe. Hit that bell for a notification. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. And if you didn't enjoy the video, thank you for watching it this far. And I hope the next video is more to your liking. Feel free to check out the playlist that you guys see. and I hope to see you guys next time. Later.